next guest's latest note is on DoorDash's coming debut. Bernstein's lead internet analyst, Mark Shmulek, joins us now. Mark, what did you make of the two S1s? Which one did you find more interesting or more revealing?
Yeah, I was just listening to the conversation, and there was certainly incremental data points that we picked up on in the DoorDash, S1 that was certainly helpful, I think, from an investor lens. And in particular, I think they spent a lot of time articulating what that platform strategy is going to be beyond simply the existing food delivery base. But they also gave us incremental data points where investors are actually still wondering, is food delivery ever really going to be a good business? And what they did was they offered unit economics of what does a customer look like in year one when you're acquiring them, and what do the costs look like versus what do they look like 2, 3, 4 years down the road? And so, from where I'm sitting, that type of cohort analysis is something that I hope becomes a required insert for all of these internet companies that are IPOing.
Absolutely. It gave us a good look into their unit economics, but how then do you reconcile what Uber Eats is doing and the amount of money that it's losing? It just seems very far behind in terms of that path to profitability compared to DoorDash. What's the explanation? Why isn't Uber Eats seeing those kinds of margins?
Yeah, certainly the strategy that DoorDash pursued by going after the suburban markets, going after those tier 3, 4 cities, appears to have played itself out quite well. Where at that time, remember, it was counterintuitive, where everyone thought that demand was going to be in the big metro markets, that the density would be there, that the order volume would be there. But what DoorDash has proven, effectively growing their share from about 17%. A couple of years ago now to about 50% of the market, is that once you get into those suburbs, there really isn't a lot of competition. And so you're the only game in town. You're now ordering for families versus individuals, and so the order sizes are bigger. And then finally, you can plan traffic patterns a lot better so that the delivery, and you can plan your logistics, can get there much, much quicker. So it certainly revealed itself in those economics that they were able to effectively grow. Whereas what we've seen Uber do is Uber go quite aggressive into markets where they perhaps weren't the first player. And we've seen it in London play itself out now recently, where they're trying to gain share. And in order to do that, that's just going to cost more dollars up front, more marketing and sales dollars in order to grow that business. What I think DoorDash shows is that once the land grab has effectively played itself out, it's a pretty good fundamental business underneath it.
Yeah, Mark, I think Tony Xu is potentially dangerous. I mean that in a good way, dangerous for the competition. I spoke to him about this strategy before he launched it, and he was talking about how DoorDash uses data on road quality, on the speed of pickup, on even where you park when you're outside a place, if you're a dasher, to pick up a meal, and uses that sort of Waze style to inform efficiency. And I'm not sure that Uber and others are doing that the same way, certainly not in the suburbs. From a technology perspective, what kind of a potential advantage do you think DoorDash has if, in fact, it has that kind of data usage and efficiency leap over competitors?
Yeah, that one's certainly hard to say, and it's certainly one that, we hear Uber talk a lot about their investments in their own platform and their routing capabilities and batch processing, and I certainly expect that we'll continue to see those investments. But I do think that, part of where Tony focused the business and what they've been able to effectively show was, something as simple as parking, which perhaps, too many of us take for granted. But, if you want to get a food delivered to you, it's got to get picked up from the restaurant and then delivered to your door. And if you're in a very dense area with limited parking, it gets much harder to effectively route that courier to the right point to actually get the food delivered, wheras it appears that what DoorDash has done is really take those data points into account. It's certainly something that I imagine if everyone else hasn't done, they will do, but it certainly seems like something that's paying off.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.